flag.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, to start off tonight, Officer Lupacini is going to give us a 2-minute update on the status of the DARE program.
That was 3. I had 3.
2 minutes.
Good evening. Hard to believe that it's been almost a year since we first started looking into reincorporating the DARE program into the district. And I got to say, we would not be as far along with this as we were without the support of the administration, the school board, Ms. Finucane, Principal Robbins, and Ms. Bailey. So I'm really excited about this program. We are far enough along now that we're going to pilot the program to our middle school 8th grade this year after PSSAs. It's going to be a 10-day course for the kids, 40 minutes a class, and we're prepared to roll it out to 6th grade as well next year. With regards to the elementary school, I've been working with Principal Michael. We have a couple details to work out with scheduling K1 and 2 this year, and then rolling it out to the rest of the elementary school next fall. So we're going to sit down with a couple very minor details. At that age level, they're just getting a little taste of it. They're not getting the whole thing. So we anticipate no problems being able to roll that out this year. Classes are going to begin May 7th, and they're going to run through May 23rd at the middle school. This is going to allow students to get through PSSAs without interruptions. And it's a fun class. It's a fun course, it really is. They're going to enjoy it, and it's going to be a nice little reprieve to have that downtime after all that testing. Again, it's 10 classes per group. We're going to be utilizing various periods throughout the day. 8th grade team leader, Mrs. Marshman, is working with Principal Robbins and myself to finalize the final scheduling of that. All the necessary materials for the pilot program this year, as well as the entire curriculum next year, have already been ordered, delivered, and are sitting in storage over at the middle school. So we're ready to go. We have everything we need. Future costs, I anticipate future costs for materials to be covered through donation to local charitable organizations, such as Masonic Lodge, the AMVETS, American Legion, things like that. The classes at the middle school are going to be held in the library. Class sizes this year for the pilot program are going to be a little bit bigger than what we like to see, but that's just because we really got to cram it in. So we expect the classes to be whittled down to normal size next year. We're kind of going to have a double class size just for the pilot program with the 8th grade. But next year we'll be down to normal class size. So I'm really excited. I'm looking forward to it. So any questions for me? Time check?
Thank you. Thank you. The nutrition group will not be joining us tonight. Dr. Shotwell, academic affairs?
So we had an academic affairs meeting this past week, and during the meeting we covered a number of items. I'll give a very brief overview. One of the items will be brought up later on in the agenda in regards to a vote. We did have some conversation around the possibility of bringing driver's education back to the district as a district-hosted program. We are continuing to look into the cost benefits for that, as well as the possibility of expanding out some more opportunities through scholarships if we continue to work with the IU in that program. We also took time to do a very brief overview of the elementary literacy materials. We have been piloting over this past school year. We've been piloting 3 programs. I'm proposing that we move forward with 2 programs at the elementary level That would be UFly for the skills in grades kindergarten, first and second grade, and then Amplify CKLA knowledge in kindergarten, first and second, and the combined program in grades 3 and 4. I do have the materials here for our 1-month review. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. I'm very pleased with the results that we've seen so far this year in regards to our pilot program for UFly as well as Amplify CKLA. I don't know if any of you are following some of the things that we've been posting on Facebook. CKLA is a knowledge-based curriculum, so it is really heavy on science and social studies. So today, we had some of our students take part in a planetarium to complement some of their literacy units. We've also had students visit the tech school. We've had some individuals come in to do some things around nutrition as well as plants. So we'll be able to embed our science and social studies into our literacy curriculum. We're going to move forward with this as the program this upcoming school year. We are also working to bring back middle school swimming. Our hopes are that we'll have it in place this school year. We've been able to have some flexibility with staffing to be able to make some plans to have this work at least for our 5th and 6th grade in the middle school. We also had an opportunity to have an individual from the high school come and talk to us about the Think Big fundraisers that are going on right now. I don't know if she's here. I didn't know if she would come back to me or not. Thank you. So we are in the process. If you have an elementary school student, they are doing a coin drive. Our middle school is also collecting some money towards Think Big, which is for childhood cancer research. And the high school is planning a pretty big fundraiser this year in hopes of raising $10,000 at the high school level alone. So we're really excited to see this continue to be supported throughout the district. And then the final piece was in regards to our calendar revision. We are able to end our school year 2 days earlier next year. So we do have a proposal for tonight to change the last day of school to June 3rd, with June 5th being graduation.
Have any questions?
We met with athletic committee. We're almost done with our handbook, our student and our coaching handbook. It just seems like things come up all the time, changing social media, yada yada. So we're almost done with that. And then the other things I just have on my agenda, just small things. So I'll have all the recognition done next week with all the winter sports. Everything's done. That's all I have.
Questions for Bo?
I had a question, though, it's on the agenda item. These changes to the track and field here, is that a permanent change or is that a one-time?
No, that's a permanent change. It's because of the amount of kids and scheduling since we have. They have a lot of kids on it. We just wanted to move them up to tier.
So what would happen if we reduce the number of kids? Would it come back at some point? I mean, I'm not saying it will, or if it would ever happen.
It's always, the track is always up there. We always have, my God.
And
50,
it's also
60 kids.
It's also written that the head coach is the one that's getting all the money. How about the other assistants that do a ton of work? I mean, I pulled the park a lot, and they're out there doing all kind of running drills
They're
and
on
stuff.
we're on with our regular coaching. They all get increments with the regular pay scale. I think you guys have all the pay scales, all the junior high head coach, the varsity coach, and then all the assistants are on the pay scale.
So they all get bumped up in this too?
No, the assistants are all on. They're not tiered. All our assistants are on the same thing. It's only the tiers we just have in the varsity sports. There's a junior high head coach. Not even the tiers. Just junior high head coaches. There's all assistants, and then there's a varsity. There's a tier 1, tier 2.
Is this for next year? Or
Are
are you doing this for?
I was gonna do it for this year because we have some money to do it this year, being that we have some coaches that stepped down, or tennis coach stepped down, we have the money there. If they wanna wait until next year, that's up to you guys. I mean, that's a proposal. I mean, there's other schools that pay a girls coach and a boys coach because track is of so many numbers, but we only have one coach. So it varies. I don't know how they do it at Hazleton, but I know some Wilkes-Barre like that, they pay a girls and a boys coach. They would have to pay them both that sum, but we just have one coach. That's why I wanted to just move her up into the size of
Any other questions for Bill? Okay, moving on to budget. Christina's not able to join us tonight. Everything she had there was attached to the agenda. Jeff, do you have anything for us?
We have to work, knock down the deficit.
It's still pretty early in the process. So
We got a
that
month.
helps.
Brent, do you have anything for us?
I didn't submit a committee agenda last week. I'll just answer any questions anybody might have.
Anybody have anything for Brent? Mrs. Post, CSIU.
We had a presentation from the SIU about continuum of support for our different districts. And what it involves is, Mrs. Kovsky has been moaning all the time, is to get early intervention. And they will come and train our own people and pick a group. And so if this happens when they're in kindergarten or first grade, it solves the problem for future. And there were 3 presenters, Julie Petrie, Nick Gallimont, and Dr. Grimes. And they had one child that they showed how it improved. And it seems like we're having so many issues when it comes to kindergarten that maybe we should look into this. There's 3 districts doing it already.
Is that a pilot program they're doing?
Yeah. And it's no cost to us because we use our own personnel.
Thank you. We did not have a policy committee last month. Mr. Hess, go ahead.
Yeah, we actually had the first month, we had the split work session meeting and regular meeting in February. That kind of worked pretty good. February was CTE month, which is not fast. They have their comp plan is now on the agenda for next month. They're working on that. And they actually had a presentation from a health group on the 28th about vaping, which based upon the epidemics we have of vaping, it might be something to look into possibly doing for our kids. And also, the biggest issue is right now, the VOTEC budget was tabled. A couple members are looking at trying to sharpen the pencil a little bit, so there'll be more details of that after this upcoming meeting.
Any questions for Mr. Hess? That brings us to the end of our committee meeting. Moving on into the regular meeting. Item will be approval of board minutes for the February 10th meeting. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Next, we have the monthly bills for approval. Christina's not here, so.
Bravo.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yeah.
Mrs. Paterno? Yes. Mr. Lanning?
Yes.
Mrs. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Nestle?
Yes.
Mrs. Post?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
Mr. Yost?
Yes.
Just something short. School district, in my opinion, is like a team, and every member is important. And tonight, we have on the agenda 3 staff members who will be retiring. They're members of our support staff, our custodial staff. And again, the support staff, again, is an integral part of any school, and that they keep it clean, they keep it healthy, they keep the classrooms inviting for the students and the staff alike. So tonight, I just want to thank Lloyd White Knight, Beth Mensinger, and Sue Romo, their custodians. They will be on the agenda tonight for their retirements. And I want to wish all 3 of them long and happy retirement, and I want to thank him for the many years of service to Berwick.
Thank you. The administrative reports were attached to the agenda. Does anybody have any questions or comments on those? I have a comment. I appreciate you guys putting those together. And, this month, I think a big highlight on those was West Berwick Student Council, community engagement, some of the projects they had going on. Good stuff. This brings us to our first public comment. This will be agenda items only. Please state your name and township or borough. No takers, we'll move on to general items. General items 1 through 4.
We need to separate G4.
We can separate out G4. We'll do general items 1 through 3 with a single motion and vote, and then we'll move on to G4. Any questions on those first three? Motion to approve G1 through G3. All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. G4, the Guaranteed Energy Savings Agreement.
We need to have a little discussion.
So that agreement's 90 pages, and that's for everything that was presented last week.
I'm not really in favor of doing everything at once. I don't think that's the best course of action. We need to go through the plan and see what we can cut out for now, and then come back down to it later. Can't pull up all those options here, can
We had this on slide last week.
We can still discuss.
Okay. So the three options were at 7.1, 5.4, and 7.8. 5.4 option did not include large group HVAC over as part of the building, right, Keith? Is that
Yeah.
how that reads?
Yeah, it was large group included the 2 days units.
I think that includes the cafeteria as well.
It did not include fire alarm upgrades, clock paging system upgrades. 7.1 included everything except fire alarms, clock paging system. So personally, I'd like to get some feedback from some of the staff over here. Get that insight, whatever you think. Good job, Richard. Anybody else have any?
I do B group 1 through 5. That's what affects kids and is the most urgent.
I think definitely 1 and 2 are in there.
Yeah, minimum.
Steve, do you have any insight? Especially on number 7?
So the clocks in the paging system here in Salem, sorry, East Berwick, it lives on my head, I'm sorry. As well as high school, middle school, all the paging systems in the district, other than West Berwick, are ancient. We had an issue in the high school a couple years ago where paging didn't work, and when we called for support, they said, don't touch those boards, we don't make them anymore, so don't break it. So that's kind of scary to live with that over your head. So the paging system here in East Berwick is newer than some of the buildings we shuttered that had the Chevy AM radio in them. It was, you know, they were good. This one was especially a problem because the paging system is housed in the old office, and the controls were moved to the polar opposite here, the new office, which is beyond the limit of the wire that, I believe that's Cat 3 wire, so it's well over the distance limit for that wire, and it's problematic to function in the office. So that's the kind of the 10,000 foot overview of that paging system here. I would highly recommend that you consider moving to an IP paging system so that, God forbid, if you did lose an office, that you would be able to page across the district from another location. That would be really advantageous to be able to do that, you know, in the worst case scenarios. I think we've had a number of vendors come through. I know I personally brought around a vendor that's associated with our phone system to do paging. And I want to believe that was like a $450,000 reno, but that was including all of the buildings, including Nescafec at the time. So I don't know if that helps or not.
It does. Christina brought up a good point at budget committee.
What was that?
That was the 4 buildings.
Yeah, it would have been 4 buildings.
Christina had some valid points in budget committee about the cost of each individual system, so I'm wondering if you could pull out 4, 6, and 7 and get better pricing somewhere else.
I think the advantage of this is that we're talking about doing the air conditioning, so the ceilings will probably be open. So anytime the ceilings are open, it makes it a lot easier to pull wire. That's probably one of the only things I would think would be an advantage.
And for the clock paging system, we have some of the materials here that we just integrate with that.
Again, the clocks in the paging system here are beyond end of life. So
No, I mean for the newer system, like instead of them buying 100% of the materials, we have some here.
the only thing we would have here would be the network switch connections that we just installed with the E-rate project that I just finished. So the ports would be available to house the speakers and clocks. I would think we'd probably leverage off the same system we bought for West Berwick, so we wouldn't have to apply for an FCC license for the radio wave automatic clock system. But that's probably all you're gonna save. But imagine the rest of this would be a rip and replace. And even the wiring wouldn't be the same. It's wiring right now is the standard analog. You're gonna run Cat 6, Cat 5 to wherever you're going.
So in your opinion, $295,000 for the clock paging system, is that a fair number?
I'd have to go back and research what East Berwick's was in that quote. They said that at least married into the phone system. I don't recall what that was off the top of my head.
Yeah, that's the main, I think concern, like the fire alarm system and the clock paging, if we can get a better bang than the rest of the HVAC, that's a no-brainer. That's the
Do you think that the savings from having the ceiling open would probably offset anything else?
I mean, I pulled wire either way. I mean, I know it's just easier when the ceiling's not in the way.
It's just ceiling tile, but it's not like we're knocking plaster out into it.
Yeah.
It's all not like tiles all in one block. It's not good.
Still, that's why you're paying, especially paying for the wage. You
It
save,
takes paying somebody to move them again some other time.
you save 20 hours of labor, that's substantial.
The only thing to think about is this system, whatever you put in here, will match what's in West Berwick. And then it's just a matter of expanding out to the other two schools.
So what we're gonna do with this?
Hold on them. We haven't seen enough to know whether it's competitive on those two systems. They're trying to add on for the HB project, and it could be done easily.
on 1 and 2 tonight. Buy a little bit of time for the rest and maybe that special meeting.
We should be able to vote to change this contract?
Yeah,
I would add 5 to that too. So if I were to make a motion, I would make a motion to approve 1, 2, and 5. And then have a special meeting for the rest.
Mark, if you don't mind me just mentioning something. I know when you're talking, you're not including the district administration office. I realize we had that conversation. We said they're adults and everything, but I just want to throw out there that we have about 15 window units that are in this building to cool it, that run 24 hours a day. Your money, the wheel on the meter is spinning, and you know what I mean, that money's going right out the window. And this unit up here on this roof that cools where we're sitting right now is a 1996. I don't even know if it'll make it through this summer. So it's up to you. Yeah. So the one that went in the other room was put in the same year as this one. I mean, I would.
That's good information.
If I could add one other thing, so this main server room for the school district is right behind us in this wall. And there are 2 air conditioners on the roof trying to keep that cool. And they work harder in the summer when the rest of the building is hot.
So you need that on a generator.
That would be nice to have a generator. That would really be nice to have a generator.
Yeah, because I mean, everybody has been in this room where it's hot as blazes and it's cold could be because it's temperature regulation.
You won't get 2 more years out of what's on the roof that's here.
And then you're going to tax that.
You're playing with fate. You want me to play with
Add 3 into that.
So with all that feedback, that gets us to 1 through 5.
I think so. We had a guy,
Well, nobody would know more about the generator than John, so ask him what he thinks. I mean, he's a professional. John, we're gonna put the freezers on there, emergency light out, some emergency receptacles, so if the power goes out, you need to utilize some power, you can, and Steve's room.
Like you'll be doing the next director a favor. You won't have to worry about, hey, the power went out and everything didn't come back online. So the generator should kick over and the battery should hold until the generator comes on. So it'll make his or her job easier.
That's me.
I tell you, the other 2 were a decent price compared to what we could get outside of this deal. I mean, when you have the ceilings in that open, I mean, that's just not conducive. It's something similar to trying.
If you cut out the fire alarm system, how long do you think until you'd be willing to put a new one in, if you don't mind me asking? Only because the panel that's in this room right outside here needs to be gutted and redone, because in the very near future, parts won't be available for it. So I've had it in the budget a number of times. It's about 30 grand to gut it and redo it. That's only just the panel. So I'm just wondering, I was wondering what your thoughts are on when you would be able, financially even, or whatever, to do the upgraded fire alarm system.
Buildings and grounds and try to come up with a plan for that and look at redoing that panel versus the whole thing.
Is that a viable option to just redo that one piece?
It is, but the other one, when the guts of the panel are not far from being able to get parts, the rest of it is right around the corner.
Problem is, with the soft spot here, what's that number gonna look like? You know, the cost is going to the roof right now.
Yeah, keep in mind too, like when you have one company coming in and doing everything, a lot of times you get a better deal because they're doing everything. Rather than try to coordinate 5 different companies to come in here, and their bids are gonna be a little bit higher because they're not gonna be doing as
You have
much.
to drop it on the tiles, in the water.
Yeah, exactly.
It really matter too much about what it's gonna cost in a couple of years if you don't actually have the money to do it now.
But I thought that we had looked at the budget.
not that the money's not available, it's that they're borrowing and saving and.
Initially, we
It's gonna be-
proposed that we have
Exactly.
enough
Right.
excess
Right.
to do this, and then we find we don't. So,
Well, it's not that we don't, it's just a matter of who we want to spend it on.
Keep in mind, we ask a person to put this together who's in these buildings all the time. And in my opinion, is our resident expert on this stuff. That stuff's on there for a reason.
One thing you have to keep in mind too is a lot of this, I think the price is a little elevated because it's running all new wire. So kind of like we said about, like for instance, the fire alarm system. You got the panel, when they would put in new, it would be all new wire along with it too. Not trace the wire out to where the smoke detector is and put a new smoke detector on or a new cool station. It's all new wire so that we can make sure everything up in the ceilings here, it's a nightmare. And there's been so many things done, and Steve can tell you, we've had contractors that have been up in there cutting this and cutting that. Our pneumatic system that we thought we had that ran the thermostats, the air's blowing up in the ceiling all over the place because things get cut when people are up in there. So a lot of this, I think that you're seeing a little taller price because of it's including the running all the new wire. And I think Steve would tell you as well, that price that he got to do the paging systems and everything, that wasn't the running of the new wire. Am I right? Say that was just like the head units.
They were going to run new wire, they were gonna try to salvage the speakers in the rooms. They felt that they could keep the speakers in the rooms, but everything else was rip and replace.
And that's why we had, like I said, we were thinking, well, the ceiling's out is the time to do it. Then we're not, we're not touching it, then any of that related to that. If you do have a problem, if you have a problem with a pool station, you have a problem with something related to one of the speakers, you know it's not the wire. The wire's no.
You gotta keep in mind too, these are prevailing wage jobs. So if it's, you're gonna have someone in here pulling wire, and it's gonna be more work doing it later, the labor costs could be,
Yeah.
they're probably making $30 an hour, ballpark, benefits.
So if you two had a recommendation, it would be number 3.
I would do it, I would throw 3.
I wouldn't even hesitate to say not do 3.
Do 3.
Definitely do 3, because you're gonna be spending that money utilizing.
I'm sorry, I'm saying option 3.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which does them all.
The only thing clock and paging would buy you later is if you decided to do an IP camera, security camera project in the building, then you're kind of pulling the ceilings down for that anyway. So that would give you another opportunity.
I had told Paul when I talked with him today, I was kind of considering this a mini renovation so that we could figure out what we're doing with, you know how long that's gonna take to do an expansion or to do centers or to do whatever we decide to do. It's gonna be a number of years, so I was thinking that by taking care of this, you would be good with the students and the faculty, everybody would be safe and cool and warm until you ended up collectively making a decision as how we're moving forward. And then you have drawings to draw up, you have just to do a renovation, you have a year in drawings, the bidding, it wouldn't be something you could do all at one time, you'd stage it out. So realistically, I think you're talking a number of years until you would, do anything after this. That's just my opinion.
So the money of it all, we talked about in the budget committee, was that 2 weeks ago. And I think most of us were in favor of borrowing half of that. Yes, if we do have the money to do it, I would still be in favor of borrowing because cash is king, and given the state of the economy and the rates that we're at right now, those rates may go down by the time we lock in based on the inflation report coming out. And the bond rates will probably improve if the inflation report is a good one, which is looking like it will be because consumer is down. So borrowing half of this, I believe, is the best financial decision for the district.
what if we did tell us, if we drain our reserves to pay for all that, it affects your bond rate, which means you have to pay more interest. So something that you have, that is prudent and simple as using your savings to do it, can come back and hurt you because, oh, you don't have the savings, now we're gonna up your interest rate and your bonds. I mean, I'd rather use 100% of savings, but at the end of the day, if you gotta look at the whole entire picture.
So are we back to 1 through 7?
I think we'd be shooting ourselves in the foot if we didn't take option 3.
So if that's the case, that's how the contract is written.
Oh, yeah, I'll make that motion. I'll go for that. Option 3.
As presented.
Yeah.
I'll second.
Second?
Yeah, we should do it all.
Yeah, that's a big number. Roll call, please.
Mr. Lanning?
No.
Mrs. Caprillo?
Yes.
Mr. Hess?
Yeah.
Mr. Eisenhower?
Yes.
Mr. Nestle?
Yes.
Mrs. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Moyer?
Yes.
Mr. Taylor?
No.
And Mr. Yip?
Yes. Okay, that brings us to academic affairs, items 1 through 3. Do you have any questions on calendar?
We take 2 days off at the end of the year, which apparently doesn't meet our hours days. We just did our spring break, which has not been well received by parents.
Well, so I got other feedback.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay. I was gonna say, I would propose take those 2 days and a spring break and move them till that week before Labor Day and add our day after Thanksgiving break back.
So there is the meeting and let's discuss other options to do with it. Dr. Shaw, will you talk about that? Not out.
So we did discuss a number of different options. The taking the days off at the end of the school year is an option that provides the least impact instructionally, as well as in regards to schedules that may have already been established. Not my decision. It does allow us to have some flexibility. We would have the option for snow days at the end of the year if we decide not to utilize fit days also.
No, we looked at moving around in different places in the schedule. Basically, all going on Washington. So that's why the committee's recommendation is to take it off 2 days.
We also talked about next year having a full public meeting to have a discussion on the calendar. So if we get more input, we might collaborate a little bit more. Dr. Shaw will have a lot of good input on how to use some of the extra time that we do have instructionally. But for this year, we thought end of the year, everybody's kind of checked out that week anyway, so you guys do not disrupt students' time.
They're kind of checked out the first week too. No matter what the last week is, they're checked out. You can do last week in April and they're checked out.
A suggestion too, having that long, the spring break, the kids just have 5 days off in a row, then you have a time change, and then you're gonna get them ready for school this morning, and let me tell you, that was a nightmare. That, if you're gonna have a spring break, don't do it on daylight savings.
Maybe we'll have daylight savings next year.
Well, that's not up to us.
Yeah, I like the idea of more discussion with it, because I'm curious of what, like, the attendance was Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of this week, and like compare that to Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of fair week. Just see what staffing, student attendance. That could shift stuff one way or the other. Have high absenteeism. So I want to make our days that we're in school beneficial, not just open school day.
Is there a deadline on when this has to be?
Well,
kind of like Mark's idea that you let this one ride this year, then you have the public, more of a public discussion for the 26, 27 calendar.
We can
We're a little
put that
late to
in.
rework this entire
Ahead of
thing.
time. For that discussion, yeah, I'm fine.
Any other questions on any of those items? Motion to approve academic affairs items 1 through 3.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Ayes have it. Ten personnel items. Anybody have any questions or comments on these?
Question on P10. Last month, it was brought up that this was gonna be $1,000 for coaching.
Or,
Coaching at a bocce program.
we're gonna put the one coach at the tier 2 at the bottom for 3,000. And then the Special Olympics gives us 1,000.
Yeah, but what I said was, it was originally told to us that it was gonna cost 1,000 for coaching. And now it's 6,000, that's what my question.
They were gonna give us 1,000, but we talked about putting it on as a regular coach, because it's a PIAA sport, we just put it at our tier 2, so that's $3,000. But the 1,000 is gonna come from Special Olympics, and then the other coach is gonna come from Special Ed Mark.
So the $1,000 talked about last time wasn't the amount that we're gonna pay the coach, that's the amount Special Olympics.
Then they give for a coach, but nobody pays, like I've talked to other teams that have things, nobody pays $1,000 to the coach. They're with the regular salary for all the coaches.
Yeah, that's where I confusion came, because I was under the impression it was supposed to be $1,000, but it's $1,000 that's coming from
Special Olympics, that comes every year from that, and that'll be help paying that other salary that Pam's gonna cover there. So we'll just be up for the athletic department, will only be for 3,000 for the tier 2 every year.
Any other questions on any of these? We get a motion to approve personnel items 1 through 10. All in favor? Opposed?
I accept for, I think I agree with Clint, I except for 7 and 8, no, on 7 and 8.
Both no on 7 and 8.
And that is for, to start this year, not next year.
No, that's for next winter, that's not this year.
Not this,
The program, it's just gonna be an intramural this spring.
No, the change.
Oh, for the track, yeah.
That's
I
for the
wanted
season that started
I
last
wanted to
week.
do it this year because we had a coach our tennis coach left, and we have the money in there now to do it.
You two are doing those 7 and 8.
Anybody have any old business to discuss? Anybody have any new business to discuss? That brings us to our final round of public comment. Please state your name and township or borough.
Christina Culver, Salem Township. I want to thank Mrs. Hinkle for putting on a really nice event. The family engagement night was really great. I wish you would have had more people come, so everybody, you need to go next year. It was a really good event. It was family engagement night. She had a speaker. It didn't cost anything, and lots of community involvement and tables, and it was a delightful evening, so thank you. Also, thank you to Jared Yost for attending as well to support it, so that was very much appreciated. Also, I just wanted to talk about, I'm sure that everyone in the room shares my concern over the future of public education. I am sure that, like me, you're very worried seeing the attacks against our public schools at the federal and state level. Knowing how difficult it is to already manage our budget, we know the devastating effect any cuts would be. I know that we all want our amazing teachers and administrators to have the funding and resources they need to provide excellent education to our children at Berwick schools. So I am sure that this board will commit to joining us in standing up and speaking out to ensure that every child has access to a quality public school education. Because of course, that is what you were elected to do. I lost it on my phone, but I looked up the policy, and it says that one of the things that the board is responsible to do is to promote public education as a cornerstone of democracy. So by defending public education, we are defending our democracy. So I hope that all of you will join us again in speaking out and standing up to support our public schools. Thank you.
Anyone else? For executive summary tonight, we had 3 personnel items and 2 contract items. Our next meeting will be in this room on April 14th beginning at 6 p.m. Motion to adjourn. All in favor?